Hi, this is JP LaForest from StudioJPIC. In this video, I will show you the workflow that I use to produce my videos. So I will show you how I set up the background I have in the back, how I set up the camera, the light, and how I use my Galaxy tablet here to control the camera, the Zoom H4n, and my clip-on lavalier microphone. All of these I've done videos on the past before, but I want to show you how everything connects together. And after we're done with this part, we're gonna go in the editing room where I'll show you how I actually edit this video. Alright, so the next part of the process, now that the background is in place, is I place the light. And I know for my setup that this is about where the camera and the light both need to go, but basically I put the light here, and then about halfway between the light and the background, this is where I place the chair. And by putting the chair in the middle of the room like this, it means there's less shadows in the background there, so that's really good to have. So I will turn on the camera, and I have it connected to my Samsung here. So with the light and the chair in the background in place, the next part is I will kill the ambient light, which I had turned on mostly so you could see what I was doing. But as I'm getting closer to filming, I don't want any extra lights to look kind of weird and stuff like that. Alright, so now that I'm sitting here, basically I have the tablet and it's asking me to connect to the camera. So I plugged in the adapter and the powered USB hub, and I have my extension cable that runs all the way to the camera, as I explained in another video. So by looking at this, I center myself on the shot, and then I put the focus on where my eye is. And this is always a little awkward because it's a mirror effect. And then I look straight at the camera, and I let it autofocus. Yeah, everything looks good. So for this, I'm at 1/60th of a second, f2.8, ISO 400, and I'm looking at the image, and everything looks it looks pretty good, as you can see here. So the next part I usually do, which this time I did in advance, but I clip my microphone, which I'm using to record right now. So I'm going to do a bit of a videoception concept with this. So basically, once I'm ready to start the actual beginning of this video, I will stop this recording and start a new recording. And speed on the audio, speed on the video, and clapper. Alright, and those are all things that I tend to do to make the synchronization of the sound much easier in post-production. And it assures in my mind that I did start the recorder, I did start the camera, and now I'm ready to record. Hi, this is JP LaForest from StudioJPIC. In this video, I will show you the workflow that I use to produce my videos. So I will show you how I set up the background I have in the back, how I set up the camera, the light, and how I use my Galaxy tablet here to control the camera, the Zoom H4n, and my clip-on lavalier microphone. All of these I've done videos on the past before, but I want to show you how everything connects together. And after we're done with this part, we're going to go in the editing room where I'll show you how I actually edit this video. So thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. And if you liked it, please click like, subscribe, and share with a friend. If you have any questions, comments, or suggestions, please leave them in the box below. Have a great day, and I'll see you next time. Alright, so let me add a clapper again for the iPhone. Excellent. So as you can see, I filmed the introduction and the ending of this video from the Canon T2i, and then I'm going to splice everything up together in post-production. Alright, so this ends our principal photography section. So next up, I'll see you in the editing room where I show you how I edit the videos in Adobe Premiere Pro and in Adobe Audition for the audio correction. Alright, so we're in the editing room now, and I have started off the Premiere Pro, and I have not opened up a project or anything yet. So I'm gonna go in New Project, and for my location, I'm gonna browse, and I always put my videos in the reviews folder, even though this is not technically a review, but anyway, so it's in the StudioJPIC behind the scenes workflow, and I select the folder, and I always go with a copy, so you can right click and copy this name or whatever, because in the name of the project I like to call it the same thing so I remember what it is. And here the settings, I keep everything just on default. That's good enough. When you get here, there's quite a lot of options. You can go in DSLR 180p, and this is a 180p 30 frames video. So I'll select this, but even if you don't do it correctly, it doesn't matter, because as soon as you try to import a sequence, it will offer you to replace the settings by, for example, if you use the T2i 180p video and you had selected 720p, it's going to automatically ask you, okay, I noticed that you're importing something that's not 720p. Do you want me to change the settings of your sequence? But if you have it correct from the start, that's good also. And there's many ways of doing this, but basically here are the files. And for now, I'm going to process just the files from the T2i, because if I try to process everything, it's going to be too much, and then anyway, I have to put the information from this clip inside of here also. So basically, I move in my T2i information here, and I move in the audio file from the Zoom H4n. And I open up both audio channels. I click anywhere here and use the graph key, and it opens this up in full screen, so I can open it up more, and this is just so you can really see. And using Alt and the scroll wheel, I'm gonna zoom in much more on this, and you can very easily see where my clapper was in both. So I'm gonna just select it around where it is, and I'm gonna drag it around to where it is on the bottom one, and that should align pretty closely. I'm gonna zoom in to maximum. Sometimes you have to move it by 1 or 2. You're never gonna have everything lined up perfectly the same, but you can have it aligned pretty evenly. And as you can see here, You can see all the peaks match up pretty nicely. And then you can select a random point and just show you how I set up the background. And then you remove the audio from the camera. Let me just minimize this again. I have in the back, how I set up the camera, the light, and how I use my Galaxy. So all of that is very good. Everything is synchronized. So after the synchronization, all right, so now that I have the audio file in here, I'm gonna right click it and send it to edit clip in Adobe Audition. It's usually gonna take maybe 15-30 seconds to open a file, and it could be a few minutes if it's a really large file. And I'm using an external USB 2 drive, so it's a little bit slower in my case. So if you're running off an SSD or something like that, then you could blaze through this part in no time. And once I'm in Adobe Audition, I find a part that is pretty quiet, like here, and select it, and then go in Effects, Noise Reduction, Capture Noise Print, or you can use the Shift-P shortcut. Then I just click somewhere else, and I'm gonna do the noise reduction process. So I just test out somewhere at random, in my mind, that I did start and I play with the transition width and the noise reduction setting to see how high I need to go to remove the background noise. And also I pay attention at what point does it actually distort. And another thing you can do is click the output noise only. If you select this and play, the only thing you hear is the noise, and that way you can, select how much you can fine-tune it to try to not have most of your voice come out as noise. So once I like the settings, I click on Apply. And now I'm gonna add in Filter and EQ, I'm gonna add a parametric equalizer, and this is in my effects rack. So the preset I use is Vocal Enhancer, and in the case of my microphone and my recorder and my voice and my taste, I like to raise the low frequencies a bit here and lower the higher frequencies like this. I tend to do to make the synchronization of the sound much. So I find that my voice comes out better that way, and then I just apply it. The next thing that I do is I pay attention to the higher peaks here. Like this is my clapper, and anything before it is not important. So I'm not gonna bother with that part at all. But here is parts that I'm talking, and it could be a word that I'm pronouncing a little bit louder than usual. So I'm gonna really zoom into this part, and I'm gonna lower it to about what the rest of the word or sentence or whatever is. And I'm gonna do the same with this one. I'm gonna lower it like this. And just by going like that, it doesn't distort the noise, or, it's not gonna make you say a different word. It just changes the volume, and that's it. And this part, there's different ways of doing it. The simplest I find is I just select the section where I'm actually talking, and I augment this as high as I believe I can go. So if I go all the way till here, nothing is peeking out. And now I'm gonna lower the volume on my speakers. JP LaForest from StudioJPIC. In this video, I will show you the workflow. So you can see in the levels it goes up to -3, -6 most of the time, which I find pretty good. So you don't want it to peak higher than the 0 decibel level, but you also don't want it in the minus like 30s or something like that too much, because people will have a hard time hearing your video. So after that's done, then I close the program and click yes to save. And then in this part here, I try to find, based on the audio file, at what point do I start the video. All right, and those are all things that I tend to do on the video. And okay, right, so hi, this is JP LaForest. All right, so this is where I actually start. And I try to back up, not too much, but I try to look for a frame where my eyes are open, and preferably if I can have a smile like this and not have to back up too much, that's even better. Sorry about that. All right. Because this is going to be basically the first frame of my video. So I select the first clip here, that's the audio and the video that came from the camera. And by using this arrow and by pressing the shift key, it's going to stick to the line where I put it. And I'm going to do the same thing with the audio file. So again, using the shift key, then both of them are going to line up correctly. And by selecting both, I just throw them to the beginning here. Next time. And at the ending of the video, I'm going to do basically the same thing. I'm going to select just the camera clip. And here we go. So basically that's how I set the beginning and end points of the video. How I actually edit this video. So thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. So in this case, the clip is actually edit this video is actually going to be split in 2 parts. So I put the timer where I'm going to be doing it. And using the eraser tool, I go on the timeline and I use the shift key, and that's gonna break away all the tracks at the same point. So this way I have the introduction here, which you heard, and then I'm gonna have the behind the scenes part, which came from the iPhone movie, which I haven't added yet, but just throw that in. Alright, so I'm gonna add the iPhone section and I'm gonna edit that out also. And then I'm gonna have the conclusion here, except that I'm gonna have to add another section in between for this clip, which I'm recording right now, which has the post-processing bit in it. And I'm also gonna show you how I add the StudioJPIC logo. Basically, I have an After Effects composition, or you could use a PNG or JPEG or whatever you like best. And I imported the After Effects here, and I'm gonna add it as a video layer that comes on top of everything. And as you can see, it is much too large. So I'm going to select the After Effects composition. In motion, in my case, I know that for 180p video, for my logo in particular, I like it to be a scale of 20. And then just using the position, I throw it there and here. And the composition is way too big. I did it for 2 hours just to make sure it would cover pretty much anything I did. So I'm just gonna minimize it this way. I'm gonna save the project. And let's say that everything else would be done. I would be ready to compose the output. So I'm gonna go in File, Export, Media. In Format, I go for the H.264 video. And since my videos usually go on YouTube, I'll show you how I get those done. I go just for the plain, here we go, YouTube HD 180p 29.97, and I find that the default works well enough. The only thing else I have to change is if you click output name, it's going to try to output it where I did my last video, which is not where I want this one to go. So I just select the folder for the behind the scenes workflow and save it there, and the video will be in the right place. So when I'm ready, I just click export, or you could queue it in your media encoder queue. Personally, I haven't had much luck with the media encoder queue, so I just decide to export. I haven't had any errors from that. So yeah, I click export and it's going to take a while to process everything. And I'm going to cancel it now because I'm going to finish this screen capture and I'm going to edit it and throw it in there also. So thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. And if you liked it, please click like, subscribe, and share with a friend. If you have any questions, comments, or suggestions, please leave them in the box below. Have a great day, and I'll see you next time.